What is going on, guys? Stefan here with you, S&E's Garage. Today we are here in the shop. We just got done doing an oil change on our GSF in our nice new climate controlled building, newly climate controlled. And I figured this would be a good opportunity to show you guys exactly what we did as far as heating and air conditioning and why we did it. So let's get right into it. Now, I spoke to several different people and I spoke to several different HVAC companies about which route I should go in here, and it was a mixed bag. Some people said it'd be easier to do a couple of mini splits, and other people said it would be easier and more cost effective to do a traditional unit, you know, like a traditional furnace with a traditional air conditioner outside. So we did a little bit of research, and the problem that we had was because of the size of our building and the ceiling height, because these are 14-foot ceilings and the building is 30 by 50, so 30 deep, 50 wide. There's just too much volume in here for one mini split to handle. So the problem with that is I would have needed two of them. I would have had to put two units outside. I would have had to run two circuits off of my panel, and it wouldn't have been very cost effective. It would have been super expensive if I went that route. Number one, to buy the equipment, and number two, to heat with a mini split, you're basically running the compressor in not so much in reverse, but you're flipping it. So instead of the cold air being inside, you know, the coil inside being cold, the coil outside is cold and the coil inside is hot. Now, the colder outside it is, the less heat output you get inside and the less efficient the unit is. Now, luckily for us, our house is equipped with natural gas. So we already had natural gas at the house. There was just an expense of around $2,000 to run natural gas from my house to the building. I'll drop a picture in here. I dug the trench myself, and then I had a plumber come do the work. So I guess now you know I went with a traditional system. So let's show you what we did. So for heat, we went with a 96% efficient Ruud Achiever furnace. This is a 100,000 BTU furnace, but there's a caveat to that. It is a two-stage furnace with a variable blower motor. We went for the Cadillac of furnaces in here, and I did that for two reasons. Number one, I don't plan on running the heat in here all the time. I'm gonna leave it at 50 degrees when I'm not in the building. And then when I come in, I wanna heat it up, and I want it to heat up fast. So we oversized the unit. Like I said, we went with 100,000 BTU. It'll take this building from 50 to 68 in literally 20 minutes to a half hour. It is fast. Now, the reason I went with a two-stage is because it'll get to that temperature that I set extremely quickly, but once it reaches that temperature, when it clicks on to maintain that temperature, it's only going to click onto the first stage and run at about 60% capacity. So now my 100,000 BTU furnace is running as a 60,000 BTU furnace, and it's running the blower motor at a much less CFM. So basically, when I'm in here filming after it reaches temperature, when this thing kicks on to maintain the temperature in here, it's not loud at all. It's not overbearing, and you almost can't even hear it. You hear more from the suction side than you do the registers. And we ran a ton of them. We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 registers in here. I'd say they're probably about every 5 or 6 foot apart. And if I do say so myself, my HVAC guy did a fantastic job. This looks absolutely phenomenal. So you might be asking yourself, why did he go with a 96% furnace in a garage that's not going to be utilized very often? There's a reason for that. My ceiling is corrugated metal. You'll see it. It's very nice. My builder did a fantastic job. And above that metal is blown in cellulose insulation. Drilling through that, number one, would make a huge mess. And number two, it would ruin the beautiful job that my builder did. So with an 80% furnace, I would have had to go up through the roof for the flue. And I didn't want to do that. So I had to go high efficient, number one, because they can run PVC pipes right out the building for the intake and exhaust. And number two, it's going to be more efficient. For every 100 BTUs of fuel that goes into this thing, I get 96 BTUs out of the vents. So for the 100,000 BTU input, it is outputting 96,000 BTUs. So we're only losing 4,000 BTUs out of the unit, which is incredible. So that's why I went high efficient. I didn't want to drill through the ceiling, and I want it to be as efficient as possible. But we have high efficiency furnaces in the house too. So I figured, you know what? Spend the money. Let's do it right. So let's go ahead. Let's kick it on for you. We'll show you how it sounds in here on the first stage, and then we'll bump it up and let you hear the second stage. Let's just go ahead and set the mode here. This will keep it on stage one. So you're going to hear the inducer motor kick in just a moment. There's that. You'll hear the igniter tick in just a second. All right, so there's the igniter. The igniter went off. Flame lit. Rollout sensor is going to pick that up. And we'll have blowage in a second. So here we are standing right about at my car in the second bay where we do most of our filming. And this thing is running the second stage right now, and you can hear it, but it's not overbearing. I can still film with this on, and obviously the further away from it we go, the less we can hear it over there. Now, if I go into my thermostat and I turn it up higher and force a stage 2, I'll let you hear it ramp up. All right, so now it's going to command stage 2. And you can hear just how much louder it got on that second stage. Now that second stage, like I said, will get this building to temperature so fast that it's actually kind of scary. You guys already saw me fiddle farting here with this thermostat. This is a Nest. I believe it's a 3rd generation thermostat. We have 2 of these in the house. And I did one of these thermostats because I wanted to be able to control it from my phone. If I know I'm coming out here, I'll go on my phone, I'll click it up, you know, to what I want it at, and by the time I get out here, the building will be at temperature. Now, we needed Wi-Fi for that, so in another video, I'll show you how I set up my Wi-Fi from the house, but here's our router. It wirelessly connects, obviously, to that thermostat, and I get high-speed internet in here, so we put in a TV, and we can watch TV in here, too, which is super cool. We can even edit our videos while we're filming, which is, again, this is going to make my life a lot easier, having internet in here, having all this stuff. So we're doing all this to bring you guys better stuff. Now, because we are in 2026 and our government likes to overreach with a lot of things, for air conditioning, we had to go a little bit more complicated. So it's a 4-ton coil with a 4-ton air conditioner outside, but we have the new refrigerant in this. So we have the R454B, which is mildly flammable and explosive. So if you look on the side of my furnace here, you can see that web of wires coming out of the coil. There are sensors in this coil that if it detects a refrigerant leak, it kills the blower and it doesn't let the system work, because if there's a refrigerant leak and you turn the heat on and you have an open flame next to explosive refrigerant, you basically have a bomb in your basement, or in our case, in your garage. So, again, we had to go a little bit more complicated. Would I have liked to find an older system with the old, I believe it was the 410 in it? Yeah, but I couldn't. My HVAC guy couldn't, so this is what we went with. So let's go outside really quick. Let me grab a flashlight, and we'll take a look at the unit that is outside. And I have to warn you, it is an absolute monstrosity. So out here, we also went with a Ruud. So this is a 13 SEER 4-ton air conditioner. You can see our disconnect here, the whip coming in. Here's the condensate drain. Little line with the dryer on it is the high side. Suction side is right here with the foam wrapped around it. And like we said, it is a 13 SEER.
let's see what else we can see on here. Anything that's useful for you. The model number RA13NY48. So the 48 is the BTUs, which is the tonnage. Now, because this is a 13 SEER, it can only be installed in the Northeast. So I believe New Jersey or Delaware is the furthest south state that unit can be installed in. Now, for those of you that don't know what the SEER rating is, it's the Seasonal Energy Efficiency Rating, I believe they call it. The higher the SEER, the more efficient the unit is, so the more cooling per kilowatt hour you get out of it, more or less. But we're probably only going to be running this thing, like I said, we live in New Jersey, so what do you run it? May, June, July, August, September, maybe some of October. The thing's only running for like 5 months out of the year. So in my house, I have all 13 SEERs, and if you guys live in the Northeast, so say, like I said, from Delaware up north, you guys have a 13 SEER as well too, more than likely. Now, I didn't know this, but Ruud actually uses Copeland Stroll compressors, and they are one of the best in the business for compressors. They are prime time. It's a very high quality unit. And that unit outside has copper coils. Most companies switched from copper to a micro channel, which is similar to what you would find in your car. So the copper is better for home use. I think we're gonna get a nice long life out of that unit. And I'm super excited to be able to film in here in the summer without absolutely sweating my you-know-what's off. Now, we did oversize the air conditioning as well. I had a long talk with my HVAC guy, and because of these 4 bay doors that we have here, number one, they leak. They're not very well insulated, even though these are insulated doors. It's probably where most of our heat loss and our air loss is. And number two, if I have to open one of these 12-foot doors to get a car in or out here, all that conditioned air is out the door, and then the unit's going to have to basically recondition that air. So this oversized unit for heat and air conditioning is going to be able to recover much faster than a undersized unit. And like I said, I wanted it to get to temperature quickly in here. So we'll have to see how it works in the summer. Hopefully it's not too big to the point where it's not pulling humidity out of the air, because then it's going to be cold and clammy in here. But because this is a pole building with R10 insulation, it's not the most airtight building in the world, especially with these doors. So I'm thinking that we're going to be just fine. So let's talk price. In here, this whole unit, so the unit, the air conditioner outside, the coil, all of this beautiful ductwork cost me roughly $12,500. Now, hopefully I get 10, 15 years, maybe even 20 years out of this unit, and it pays for itself. That's the goal, at least, right? And then we had to pay another, like I said, it was around $2,000 to get natural gas here from my house. And we had to run a 1-inch natural gas poly line from my house to the building. And we went 1 inch because 1 inch will support up to 150,000 BTUs for the length that I ran it. So if there's ever anything else I want to add in here, like if I want to add a little hot water heater or something like that, if you look up there, my natural gas line is ready to accept that. So we do have some room to grow in here if we want to add anything else that's natural gas. So again, the typical fashion, I future-proofed it, I oversized it. That way there's room for improvement. So if you made it to the end of this video, you're either looking at some of this Ruud equipment for your house, or you're looking at a way to heat and cool your pole barn. I just happen to think that a traditional system is the best way to do that, especially if you have a larger building. If this building was cut in half and it was only a 2-bay, yeah, throw a mini split in here, call it a day. But because of the size of this building, the fact that I would have had to run 2 mini splits, then I have 2 systems that could potentially have failures. It just made more sense to go this route. I have 1 furnace, I have 1 air conditioner, I have 1 coil, and it takes care of the whole building. So, hopefully, like I said, I gave you some ideas. And if this video helped you, please like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned. We have plenty more content coming. We have more projects planned in this garage, and we can't wait to show you. So, we'll see you next time.